sparks of AI, northern AI, bit of light in the noise.
Cool. I love this bit of the show. And we've got a special guest on. Yeah. So Holly usually is behind the deck. She's controlling the magic, making it all happen. We're dragging her on so she can enjoy the taste sensation that we're going to have together. Kenny, tell us about Food Heaven and Hell. What's this one all about?
It's a very. I ask myself that same question every time I think about this segment on the show, and I'm running around buying the ingredients. This is generally based on the fact that one, I enjoy traumatizing Louis or anyone else that's around with very strange food combinations. Secondly, I absolutely love cooking anyway. And thirdly, I love pushing AI to see how good it can do when it comes to creating recipes with really obscure ingredients. And so that is why we do Food Heaven and Food Hell. And I'm so glad that today we have Holly here along to experience the joy with us as well.
Food heaven or food hell.
Cool. So do you want to explain what we've done differently this time?
Yeah, of course. So what we've done is we had our Food Heaven and Food Hell fruit machine before, and what we've done this time is created a Christmas Food Heaven and Food Hell fruit machine. You simply can go online, there's a QR code for it, scan it, and then you go in, you hit spin, and it generates a whole load of random ingredients. I've tuned it a little bit this time to be less horrendous because it wanted to put in old pizza slices and Chinese curry sauce. So I've tried to make it so that it's like, by and large, well, we'll see when we eat what we've got today, edible.
Right.
So here's today's.
Let it spin. There we go. Let's see what it's going to give us.
There we go.
Toasted brioche croutons, roasted root veg medley, cranberry Wensleydale, chocolate orange pieces, and what's that?
A thick stuffing. Something we know everybody likes every now and again. So yeah, as you can see, very scary, very peculiar. Things that I'm least excited about is probably the chocolate orange pieces. Everything else is large, okay? So then what you do is you take a screenshot of what comes out of our hellish Christmas Food Heaven and Food Hell machine, and you take it and you post it into ChatGPT, and then you ask it to give you a recipe. And so this is what we've got this time. So it's Christmas Heaven or Hell brioche bake. One of the things I've found with the large language models, if you put random ingredients in, it'll generally default to creating some kind of bake or a hash. So if you don't want it to just do that, you maybe need to steer it a little bit. But today we've got a brioche bake. So we've got brioche croutons, roasted vegetables, cranberry and Wensleydale. One thing I have allowed it to do, because I just thought it was extra weird, even though it wasn't an ingredient, was it suggested, which scared me at first, a custard. So okay. I was thinking, what the hell would you want a custard for? And it turns out we're going to make a brioche. It's kind of similar to a brioche bread and butter pudding. So you make the custard. We're going to pour and soak that custard over the brioche. That gets soaked up. On top of the brioche, we're going to put... the brioche has been lightly toasted, by the way, to make them like croutons. On the top, we put some lightly roasted root vegetables. We crumble up the Wensleydale. We've then finely chopped the Terry's chocolate orange, premium only. Louis loves chocolate orange.
Chop soiled or...
And then we pop that on. And then what we do is we soak it. We pour all the custard over the top of it. And then we put it into the oven with some breadcrumbs, and then we bake it. We then pull it out, a drizzle of cransbury. Cransbury. I don't know what that is, but it sounds nice. A drizzle of cranberry and some Wensleydale on the top, and away we go. Yeah. So we've got the video for you to see what the beauty looks like, and then we're now going to taste it. Would you like to bring them over, Louis?
Shall we start the tasting? Okay, here's the first one. Do you want to pass that down, Holly?
Lovely.
Is it one here?
Beetroot again.
I'm glad there's some warmth still in it, because I was nervous that we were going to be eating. So it's definitely...
Get a good shot of that on the camera there. Look, it looks interesting.
It's like a very busy quiche.
Yeah, it does feel a bit like quiche. Right, do you want to try it first? Down the hatch?
Okay, let's go.
No babies?
Oh, wow.
It's actually not that bad.
It's actually not bad at all. There are some like conflicting tastes in there, but you get like a flavour explosion.
It's definitely like a bread and butter pudding. So I'm definitely getting the bread and butter pudding. I think the roasted vegetables,
Earthiness.
yeah, all kind of work. I think the Terry's chocolate orange keeps catching me out a little bit.
Oh.
Comes at the end, that does, doesn't
I
it?
just have a little hit then.
Yeah, it's like a streaker at a party, that, isn't it?
I think everything else kind of works, like bread, sausage meat, veg.
What do you
cheese.
think? Well, what do you think? Do you like it?
It's all right. I think it's the textures that throw you off more than anything.
If this came through in your gusto order, Halls, is this something that
You couldn't be my
not came out of there.
You know?
If this was on the gusto menu order, would you order it?
Possibly without cherries chocolate orange.
Let me try a little bit of the sausage meat.
I think it's fine for a one-off. I don't think you're gonna store the recipe and repeat, but
If you wanted your breakfast, lunch, and I don't know,
Yeah.
like,
It's-
your starter, main, and dessert in one.
it's many meals
if
in
you're on
one.
a rush,
yeah.
Do you know what?
this is the thing.
Yeah.
What I think it's lacking? Pastry. I feel like if that was set, do you know, like a quiche? If it was closer to a quiche, with a bit of crispy pastry or something, maybe a bit more texture on the top.
I mean, to be honest, I'm just picking out the cheese and the sausage meat because they're the next two parts at the moment.
The brioche itself's lovely.
I'm starving.
I know. I'm
Weird
Oh, okay, we'll just stay here and eat this now.
or not weird. I think the fact that we've almost finished it just shows how
I
hungry
will
we are.
eat it.
Yeah, I've eaten all
I
of it
will
now.
eat it.
So that brings to the end of the festive food heaven and food hell. Again, whilst I love to have fun and traumatise people, if you like cooking, AI is such a brilliant companion to use, whether you're just starting out, whether you've got something left in your fridge and you haven't got a clue, which is Christmas all over.
Oh, yeah, think of the things you could come up with after Christmas. You know, not just the standard Boxing Day leftover. You know, you could mix it up.
Well, you could have a
You could mix it all together in one.
you can have a quiche eggy brioche bake. That Louis finished his again.
Polish man.
Never known anybody eat like that.
I go silent when I'm eating. No time to talk.
Bit of light in the noise.
So this is AI Hack of the Week. So Kenny, in true style, do you want to tell us what's this one all about then?
So last podcast we spoke a lot about using the microphone to have better quality interactions with your AI. One of the ways that we want to talk about today to get better quality interactions with your AI is about how to use and create context so that your AI understands what it is that you want intuitively every time.
AI hack of the week, steal something like you mean it.
Now, Statman, talk to me. What is context?
It's a good point, because I was going to say, because for us, it's the language we use all the time when it comes to AI or a large language model. Context really is just information. That's the simplest way to think about it. It's information that you're going to give to the AI, so it's going to give you a better response. And by a better response, it'll be more accurate to the thing that you've asked it. It'll be more reflective of you, and perhaps it's in your writing style. There's loads of different layers to it, but ultimately it's going to let you get better outputs from what is basically a raw vanilla large language model. Make it more behave in the way that you want it and be like you.
Perfect. And this is going to be a really practical course of how to do that. You're going to get all of our tips and tricks about how to context.
There's no jokes and shenanigans on this bit.
jokes.
This is learning time.
This is the business.
So I'm sure.
Well, I'm sure they'll squeeze something in.
This
Okay.
is the business end. So, Louis, bring to life for us. When we talk about context, what do we mean?
Yeah, so there's 4 things that we're going to show you today, 4 ways in which you can feed the AI information that's going to make it do a better job for you. So one of them, what we call local context. So that's when you're using the AI at that moment, you're typing in the chat box. That's information that you're giving it that you want it to use there and then. The second are your custom instructions, and Ken is going to show you most of the large language models have got this, so you can kind of just behind the scenes give it instructions, and every time you use it, it's going to just automatically use those instructions. The next is a similar way. You can actually store, many of them have this context of a project, so it's almost like a grouping or a collection of conversations you'd have, and you can give that collection some documents, some files, and so within there, any chat you have can reference it, so you can tell how useful that would be. And then the final one is the memories. And so most of the large language models have this, and we've spoke about this a few times. This is really where a lot of them are pushing for, so that they can actually be learning from conversations that you have. So if you say something that actually sounds really interesting, unique and relevant, the large language model will go, I'm going to remember this, storing its memories. And next time you have a conversation, it can draw on that memory that it's had. So those are the 4 we're going to do. We'll fly through each of the 4, give you some, just show you actually what they look like.
Perfect. So the first one is local context. So this is about telling the model what you want right now. We went into great detail about this last time. This is really about hitting the microphone and being incredibly explicit, stream your consciousness, very descriptive of how you want and what you want the AI to generate for you. That's the number one way to get something better out of AI, is by giving it more description about what you want.
Or you could also, at that point, upload a load of files as well. So that's another place that you can do. But it's all about, in the moment, as you say, giving it as much information. Yeah, one shot in.
We all know Louis loves one shot in. From voicing to one-shotting. Okay, section number 2. What are custom instructions?
Yeah, so we've kind of said, so these are ways that you can preset how you want it to behave. So some of the very obvious things are, you might want it to talk in your style, like your writing style. That's a very common one, actually. Or you might want to tell it traits about you, things that you do in your job, perhaps, or things that you, that you might want it to respond to quite frequently, maybe talking in a certain way, some do's and don'ts, these types of things. So just stuff, it's more like personalization is a great way to think about that, actually, things about you and how you want it to respond.
So custom instructions in reality is about being proactive with the AI. It's saying this is how, rather than relying on memory, which is kind of implicitly going to pick up the mist of what you're doing. This one is saying, this is how I want to operate and this is how I want to work.
Explicitly telling it actually how you want it to work respond when you work with it. Yeah.
Perfect. And how do we do this?
Cool. Well, we've got an example. So as we're talking about, you can probably see it on screen. So all of the tools have this, don't they? So let's start with ChatGPT. You can go into your settings, and within your settings area, there should be in there within personalization, and then within there's various different fields you can fill in. So there's lots of information about you. Things like your name are the obvious ones, so it can respond, say, "Hey Louis," "Hey Kenny," or things about your profession, or the work you do, or general information about you. And then there's specific areas about telling it actually how you want it to communicate in its writing style, or anything else. There's lots and lots of different fields in there that you can fill in. The more of that you fill in, the better it's going to be personalized, really.
And I think that's the trick in it. Most people will only put the name in and maybe won't fill out any of the other fields. Whereas actually, if you can go into great lengths of talking about what you do like, what you don't like, what your job is, what your mission is, what your hopes are, what your fears are. So taking time here will ultimately impact all of the interactions that you have.
I suppose the good thing as well with this, you could actually speak into the microphone in the main chat, doing it for your settings, and then copy it in.
Exactly right. That's actually a really good way of doing it. Rather than trying to prompt yourself and figure it out, is ask AI to interview you about you to help the AI be better at helping you.
Yeah, great example.
Very meta.
Yeah.
Every LLM has a similar feature to what you've got in ChatGPT. So if you just go to Gemini, you'll find somewhere you've got your own little profile icon, click on it, and then you can configure your settings. And I thought it'd just be interesting but does this really make a difference, right? So I went to ChatGPT, deleted all of my memories, and then I just go to it and ask it, how can you help me in my role on my mission? And you can clearly see that it started the generation. It'll give you a powerful, tailored answer only if it knows what your mission is. It then has a stab at giving you some explanations as to how it can help me to leverage things or give me experts on demand, but it's all really generic and very wishy-washy. I then put my personal instructions in and activate it, and then ask it to generate for me how it can help me in my role. And because it knows about my mission, because it knows about what I'm trying to achieve, my style and my tone, the quality of what I get is much better. It starts to talk about things like my principles around the third paradigm of AI, of humans and AI working together. It understands our mission as a humans and algorithms business and what we're trying to achieve. It says that it can help me to shape and evolve strategies and so on, but it's all absolutely connected. And when you think I talk to it hundreds of times a day, actually every single conversation, at least now being flavored and steering me in the direction of where I want to go, makes a big difference. For me, it feels more like a partner, a high quality assistant, rather than somebody I've got to train every time I have a chat.
Can't be understated. There's a little bit of effort up front that will save you a lot of rework in the future. And that's the way of looking at it. It's the rework of it not being right and you having to kind of keep wrestling with it to get what you want. Do that up front and then you're golden.
So moving on to the next part of leveraging context. We're going to talk about project and document context. This is quite a kind of new evolution, isn't it, really, the concept of a project within an application or a large language model application.
Yeah, but it's definitely a way that actually you can keep some larger volumes of persistent information that you want it to refer to. So a great example, you work for a company, you might want to make sure it's got all of your company information, like, you know, all information about the brand, information about your products and your services. They're not things that you want to leave to chance, because the LLM might know some of these things, but it might not. It would hallucinate and you could be getting it very, very wrong. But there are also things that you don't want to keep constantly telling it. I don't, every time I want to ask something about my company, I have to go and find some documents and upload them. So this lets you, the projects feature lets you actually just permanently store that information. But also, a really nice thing, you just keep adding to it over time. Let's say you're working on perhaps your company strategy, that's your goal, and you create that doc. Well, add that to the project information. Next time you come to speak to it, it's now enlightened about your company strategy. Loads of cool things like that. The more you use it, the more you'll find more uses of it. It's super powerful.
And the great thing is you can share them as well, can't you? So between colleagues and stuff.
Totally.
So you can kind of pass that knowledge. If you've got like a new starter, for example, in like, I don't know, HR department or something like that, you've fed a project, all that information, you can share it with that new member of staff, and they've already got so much information at their fingertips already. So,
and that's the best way of thinking about it, actually. This is training an assistant, right? And ultimately, if you have a new member of your team who's going to be your assistant, this is your AI assistant, naturally, the more information that they have about the landscape of the business, how you do things, how things are done here, the better they will ultimately be at doing their job, and the more you'll be able to delegate. That's kind of the plainest English sense of what a project is in reality. And the way that you go and do this is, whether you're in Gemini or ChatGPT, you'll notice that there's a section between your chats and your actual kind of navigation at the top where you've got projects. You just simply create a new project, give it a name, choose if you want to add anyone, and then you start to set your project up. Setting your project up is you just start to put documents in that you think are important. What I've done here is just a demo example where I've put in things like our humans and algorithms vision, our mission, information about where we want to go in the future, some of the challenges that we face, and some of the things that we want to be able to do. I simply load those documents in. And then a great hack again is, if you're struggling to figure out how this new project can work and support you, because it's got all that knowledge, you just type in and say, based on the information that you have, how can you help me? And it's really helpful at spitting out everything that you might possibly want. It'll give you 100 different ways that it can help you based on the knowledge. And then what you can start to kind of do is think about, right, now I've got this deep context, what are all the different ways that I can do it?
And that's super powerful. When it's got that information, you can actually just ask it, what else could you do for me? Or here's something I'm thinking about doing. Can you support me with that? How should I approach it? And what it's going to give you is going to be better tuned, because it's got all that info about you.
Final element of our context journey is memories. So what are memories?
So everything we've showed so far, actually, other than the personalization, are maybe short-lived. They're only used at the time that they're being called. So but if you're within a project, it will always draw that project knowledge. But you within a normal chat instance, actually, anything that you add in the moment, it'll remember, but anything else that's had in the conversation, it's only ever stored in that thread. You start a new thread, you've lost all of that. What memories, though, let you do is actually it will retain key pieces of information, and ChatGPT does this automatically. You don't need to worry about it. And next time you start a new conversation, and it can be anywhere, you don't need to think about it. It will automatically inject those memories if it thinks those are relevant. So effectively what it's got is now actually permanent long-term memory, because it can draw on these things at any time.
And people can go and view their memories, can't they, that are already in ChatGPT or Gemini by simply going to your personalized profile area, click on that, and then you'll be able to see and search through and view your memories. And it's a bit fascinating, some of the things that it captures that
I'd
you...
like to see yours, to be honest.
No one wants to see my ChatGPT memories.
But a good test, and I think you've done this, Kenny, you actually can just ask it, tell me what do you know about me, or tell me what do you know about my personal life. Can you give me some interesting insights, actually? You can get into some really weird scenarios. Can you tell me some inherent character flaws I have, please?
I don't know about that.
Well,
I don't think even with a 128,000 output limit, Louis, we can cover all of that.
Well, you can now start to talk. You can start to talk to it like your therapist, because it actually knows about you, and from that, it has it understands kind of psychology models, so it could if you wanted to. So yeah, loads of really good things you can do with that.
So to create a project in ChatGPT, obviously you can just do it simple and it's nicely labeled. If you want to do it and use Gemini, the way to do that is to go and access their notebook LLM, and it works in very much a similar way. You load in your documents and you can communicate and have a conversation with those. It's got a whole host of other features that you can try out as well, but we'll cover those in another episode. So we spoke loads about context and creating good context for when you're using AI. Why does that make a difference? Why is that important, Louis?
Yeah, so hopefully we've covered a lot of it, but there's lots of great reasons. So for one, it's just more relevant to you, and it's more relevant to the task. Therefore, it's going to be more useful. The fact that you've given it all this information as well, there's less likelihood that it's going to get something wrong, because it's going to be basing its response on real information. So that's a great way to prevent hallucinations, and we've talked about hallucinations. The fact that you're giving it more up front, you're expecting it's going to get it right more times first time. That's a really important one. What you're going to reduce the amount of rework, the amount of times you've gone back and forth, say, actually, it's not right. Can you give me something else? Can you give me something else? Really valuable, and we mentioned this, if there's a group of you working on it, you get some consistency across the team. If it knows the style that you should all be writing, if it knows the same information you should all be using, actually it makes teams work better. And then ultimately, really, it kind of helps you be just better strategically and better creatively. Because one of the criticisms people have of these LLMs is, when they're just asked them these broad questions with no context, no background, it can be very generic, and that's just the nature of it. Of course, you don't give it enough information, you're going to get something generic back. But the more you do, that's how actually you can really push it. And I don't believe the criticism's correct that these responses from AIs can be creative or they can't be creative. I really think they can if you context them right and you push them right and you work with them in the right way. So it's the same with kind of strategic thinking that you get from it. The more you give it, the better it's going to be able to kind of think differently. And that's what you're after it to do. You want it to think differently, so you need to give it the background.
So in reality, contexting is the perfect antidote to most people's frustrations when it comes to AI-generated content, or people's concerns about it not reflecting them or reflecting their individuality.
Yeah, most of the time, bad responses is bad context. Bad input gives you a bad output.
AI Belters of the Week, brought to you live from Manchester, England, by the one and only Louis Giorgio.
C'est moi.
Oh my Lord. Are you ready? Are you ready? What absolute belters are you going to be whipping out this week, Louis?
I've got to admit, I love this bit because It is crazy. It's non-stop. There is so much stuff to talk about. So I've added a new thing because I just try and boil it down to 5. There's been so many other good stuff that I had to mention it. So I've just thrown them all on one, just on kind of one page there. So if we think of what we've had in this last 4 weeks, we've had GPT 5.1, that was the upgrade, which is only a 0.1, but it's a major upgrade. With that, they released the Codex, which is the kind of coding version of that, which is amazing. We've had Gemini 3 Pro, huge for a while, was the or is, perceived to be the best LLM right now. And as part of that, the new Nano Banana, so Nano Banana Pro.
Nana's banana? I don't want to see anyone's Nana's banana.
Try to say that. That's a different news story
That's a
later.
different news story,
Come
yeah.
see me afterwards.
Well, as long as you're wearing musk.
Bring your musk with you.
Many Nanas have seen your banana.
It's a shame. There's been a couple of other really brilliant things as well. So Flux was one of the amazing image generation models. They came out with Flux 2, and there was the leading open source model, which is now Z Image. So again, one that we've not heard of, but they've been eclipsed because Nana's banana it's just been that good actually. And yeah, we won't go into it because that's well covered. But some other things, Claude's flagship model, Opus, that's their biggest thinking model, that came out, and again topping the scores for coding particularly. At the same time, Elon Musk won't be left behind. Grok 4.1, the newest version of that, again for a time was in kind of some of the top. These positions change literally constantly. On the open source side, we had from China, the Chinese models are incredible. So we had Minimax M2. That actually was the leading open source, and it was almost on par with all the other paid for.
That's unreal, that is,
which is incredible. And then the same time, and then that was then eclipsed a week later by Kimi K2 with their latest thinking model.
Like a pop star.
I know. So these are models that we barely hear of. It's a shame they don't get enough kind of airtime, but they're absolutely incredible. But then actually, it was so hot off the press. Maybe it was literally last night. Deep.
Say deep again.
How deep is your love?
I'm getting all my deeps mixed up. Deep Seek. So that was the
I thought you were broken then for a second.
Deep Seek, which was the original kind of China model, headline sort of making Chinese model. Their 3.2, again, just a point version, actually has been beating even, is now meant to be better than Gemini 3. Like literally that's in the last 24 hours. And again, it's open source. So it's crazy what's going on. And then at the bottom, just in the video space as well, I know VO 3.1 often gets, or Sora 2 gets all kind of the press, but there's some amazing models from Runway. And then Mocha is a very, a little known one. And then Kling, that were one of the better video models, they've actually released an 01. And again, that is now touted as the best open source, pretty much on par with the others. So loads and loads of stuff there. So I kind of just wanted to do a quick coverage of those. But what I've done is I've boiled down my top 5 picks.
Can I ask you a quick question? I'm pretty sure that anyone that's kind of listening or watching is hit with the overwhelm of information that's been blasted at them from a kind of media perspective with AI. How do you keep a foot of everything? You are brilliant. You're like a library of AI information. How do you apart from not sleeping, lots of tea, how do you stay abreast of everything?
Well, the reality is there is that much, it is a problem.
Yeah.
So I started off, I subscribed to lots of newsletters.
Bundown, is it?
But I'm bombarded. There's 4 or 5that I subscribe to, and it's no exaggeration of getting them every day. 4 or 5 every day, and they're lengthy, and you can't read them all. I also subscribe to Medium. Medium is great, so you get lots of stories from people that are using tools and building and sharing, so Medium's fantastic. But then I also like to watch videos, so YouTube for me is great just to kind of see things. I'm a very visual person, and just seeing things brought to life. I love watching things on videos as well on YouTube, mostly that I subscribe to. And I have about 4 or 5 different channels that I subscribe to. Some are more technical, some are more about the headline things, some are a little bit more niche. So again, get a good spread.
Who's your favourite, like, from a YouTuber? We started in the early days, didn't we, with Matt Wolf? He was we used to watch it every week. It was literally like a new series that had come out, and we'd sit and chat about it. But yeah, who do you follow now who's really good? Because there's a lot of charlatans, isn't there?
There is. My current favourite is the channel's called AI Search, and I think particularly the reason why I like them, they cover the lesser known models and the lesser known innovations. I think the person that runs that really goes to lengths to really kind of find and uncover sort of stuff like, they're always going through the new releases on archive. So when they hear about new research, they're always kind of looking at, definitely in China and some of these smaller organizations that are releasing things, but you're seeing a lot of innovation there. So I like them for the lesser known things. Yeah, cool. Right, let's fly through some of these then. So start with number 1. So I thought for this, this itself isn't new. So mind reading, using AI for mind reading, which sounds crazy. Maybe a lot of people listening to this have never heard of that. But actually, some of the research in that first came out about 2 years ago. And this was an experiment that was ran by Meta, so Meta of Facebook and Instagram fame. And they were using they're using a device to read brainwaves, and then using AI to translate the brainwaves into the image. And for those that are watching, I've got on screen, you can see the image that someone looked at, and then the image AI generated as a representation of what their brain they've received from their brainwaves. So that is cool, but not new.
See that, actually.
And they're actually reflective, aren't they? The images that are being presented. That's unbelievable.
They're very, very similar. Yeah.
You could tell what it is.
Yeah. And so my number 1 spot this week, someone has taken this, and this is the first product to go to market, because some of this stuff, these brainwave devices, they're only in labs, but this company here, Neurosity, has released the crown. So you actually put the crown on your head, and it does read your different waves. What's fascinating, they're immediately touting it as like a productivity boost, because it can do, I don't know quite what it does, and there's an app that comes with it, so you can kind of track your neural activity, but it's meant to get you into, like your flow state where you're hyper focused and you perform your best. So it's meant to do something to calm your brain and do that, which itself is fascinating. But the thing I find most interesting, though, that they're looking at this to kind of create the next generation of neuro apps. So they're looking at actually how can we now power apps with our brains, which for me is then, wow, well, this is a whole new dimension. And so what they've actually done, they've actually taken it a step further. They've created an MCP server. So if anyone doesn't know what an MCP server is, it's a way of connecting technology to AI platforms. And so now with that means you can connect an AI that you would talk to your brain. And so the one example they had, there's an image of it on screen, which is bonkers. They've got people coding with their brains. They're just saying, actually, I want it to, in their thinking what they want it to do. And it goes off and generates the code.
Oh, wow. That was what I was going to check. So it isn't just that it helps you to get into a flow state by monitoring your brain, i.e. pushing back in. It's actually reading your waves and physically doing something with it, like coding, yeah?
Yeah. And the fact that it can connect to an AI agent, it could code, maybe it can generate some images, it can have a conversation.
So what's the in this instance then, the agent is interpreting the waves and then abstracting it into, because I guess the software wouldn't have the level of intuition, traditional software wouldn't have the level of intuition, would it, to act on it?
So coupled with an AI that can then do things.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You always bring the future terror into this.
Is it scary or is it marvelous?
How effective is it? Have you seen? Is it like I think about a new e-commerce checkout and it builds it, or is it more about create? That's how I perceive the world of telekinesis in the future. That's how you do it.
Well, no doubt the demos of the show are always flawless, but we'll see when some people start getting their hands on it. Again, it's brand new tech. But yeah,
I love that.
One to watch out for, definitely. Cool. Right then, number 2. So we covered, we talked about, I always love talking about robots, but this one's fascinating. This is the Xpeng iron robot. So Xpeng, most people won't have heard of. I think they're kind of referred to as like the Chinese Tesla. So they're huge in like the electric car market. And so this was actually at one of the shows where it was revealed, and it's just got really, really realistic movement. It gets even weirder. So whilst they were live on show, they were getting some negative feedback. People thought it was too real. They thought it was a fake. They thought there was a person in the robot. So literally, whilst the show was on, some of the engineers that were like took it as a personal affront came up on stage and they started to cut up. I think there's a video. Started to cut up some of the fabric. So
Polish trousers.
they were starting to undress it.
So instead of staying quiet, they decided to do something bold. They did the X-Ping Iron Robot acting stage.
Wow.
Yeah. Just to kind of show how it was built, and they could see like the underlying metal skeleton. But it's interesting to look at, actually they've really shaped it in the human form. You know, it's almost like a layer of skin that they've got over the underlying metal frame. Just the one other one on the robots, because these guys are great. Unitree created their G1, and every month they come out with new things they got it to do. This was the latest. Check this out, playing basketball. We'll let this play.
Where's basketball? That's impressive.
Wow.
Yeah. So
This is a kung fu robot, isn't it? This
Yeah.
is the one that's always running around doing the parkour.
Yeah, I love it here. It's kind of dodging around. If anyone's watching the video, it's
Wow.
dodging around the person it's playing with, and then shooting.
It's just some good moves.
Yeah, it just looks eerily realistic, doesn't it? Yeah. So anyway, so the makers of the Unitree G1, yeah, they just keep pushing it and pushing it, and this is the one that's going to be the most affordable as well.
Oh, wow.
So it's one to watch out for. Cool. Number 3 of 5. There's been a lot of developments in like the real world kind of an artificial world simulation. So currently most of the AI that we're experiencing are large language models, and it's all about our understanding of that. There's a lot of researchers that are saying that that's going to be limited actually, because large language models don't necessarily understand real world. They don't understand physics, and so there's a couple of companies that are working that. Google are, no surprise, are pioneers, and they had something called SEMA, and they've just released in the last couple of weeks a newest version of that's kind of the real world engine. And again, so the AI is able to understand what's going on in real environments. So these are like virtual environments, and some of the tests they've done, they had the AI doing things like playing video games just because it can read and understand the environment. But what it will mean is that it'll translate well to actually the real world as well. It's not just going to be.
So what am I looking at here then now?
So these are completely AI generated games, almost like games in this instance, and the AI is kind of playing the game, but is able to reason, understand, have conversations, perform everything as though it was a human playing and interacting with this game. Yeah.
So it's almost like testing its own game that it's made.
So it's his understanding of actually real world. So by its sight, it can see and it can understand.
I've got you, and that's been manifested through using the AI's knowledge within a computer game, yeah?
Yeah.
So by being a character in a computer game, it's enabling them to have an AI exploring a world, yeah?
A real world, yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah. And there's loads of these. So World Labs are another one. I think we mentioned them last time, and they've got their model. And so this is kind of another kind of parallel sort of area of exploration that a lot of companies are looking at now. And NVIDIA as well, they're looking at sort of robotics and real world applications. Of course, things like warehousing, robotics in warehousing. The AI needs to understand real world and physics to be able to know, how much weight to apply when lifting a box or pushing.
And it's
things,
safer to do that in a simulated game environment, a simulated world, than it is in the real world, which humans can't do, can they? Humans can't be trained. I suppose you are to some degree, aren't you, with things like airplane pilots are trained in simulators.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you only do an hour at a time. A robot can train in a simulator 24 hours a day, 7 days. And then you can just import it into another robot and then give it to another robot.
and then put it when it's ready into a real, physical environment. Yeah. So loads of cool developments here, and this is one that's really great because actually you can create these 3D scenes just from images, and this here just from an image you create these interactive real world environments that would also have real physics applied. And this is one I quite like as well, being able to kind of perform that live edit. So just taking like an image and be able to say, okay, actually I want this, in this instance I want this couch to be blue, and now I want to explore this room, and it's the real room that you're then exploring and interacting with. So loads and loads of cool stuff there, really.
And this is which product?
And this is by World Labs, maybe called Mirage, I think is one of their products. And you can sign up now and start to use this.
Amazing.
Yeah. Cool. Number 4, Meta, never left behind. Meta have always got loads of cool stuff. And the thing about Meta, that their stuff doesn't seem to be released in the usual way. It's become services, although some of it does. Things like Llama, some of their LLMs and some of their other services do. But usually what happens is they'll find their way into some of their products. So it'll become like a filter in Instagram or Facebook, etc. So this is called SAM. So it's Segment Anything. And it's the latest version 3. And so there's a little clip. But what it does is you can give it video, so you can definitely see why it'd be fun in social context, and it understands the shapes and the objects within a video, and it does it lightning fast, like within a couple of seconds. So it could be a video of us here, and you could identify, okay, there's these 3 people sat on the couch, and then it can do things to the video. It can give us outlines, it can colour us in, it can turn us individually into different things. So so it's kind of very, very cool. As an example, here's a picture of some dogs, and it's just said, look, find me the dogs in the scene. So you go, it's just said dogs, and it kind of identifies them, and then you can apply like an effect or something to those animals. So pretty cool. But then taking it a step further, so Sam has become Sam.
I love your step further. I'm like, as if I haven't had enough already.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But then Sam 3 becomes Sam 3D, and again, everyone is also pushing on the 3D. So you take a photo just of someone, and then you just say to it, turn that into 3D.
Sam 3D redefines real-world 3D perception for robotics, scientific research, and commercial applications like Facebook Marketplace. Try Sam 3D today in the Segment Anything playground.
Do you think the fact that Meta is tinkering in those areas is related to the fact that they are heavily invested in augmented reality and virtual reality? Thinking about Meta glasses in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I think that traversal of like 2D to 3D and what we can do with that. But I think they're probably also looking at actually how it can find its way into some other products. Like it mentioned on the video, Facebook Marketplace. Imagine people are wanting to sell some of their items and they take photos, and then actually you can see a 3D visualization of that thing that you're selling. Or they may have further kind of e-commerce implications of selling through some of their applications as well. So
That makes sense.
I think Facebook or Meta are definitely one to watch out for. They've got a hell of a lot of consumer tech, and they're always aiming at consumers, actually. So we'll see loads of cool stuff over the next few years coming from them.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, and then the last one then, number 5. What have we got for number 5? So I think I need to give a good shout out to Google Labs. So this is not very well known. Google create amazing products. So part of often their DeepMind team, which is kind of their amazing internal research team, come up with these incredible innovations, and they constantly create loads of products that they host on Google Labs, but not many people know about it. This is one of several things on there called Pomeli. And what this one does, though, there's a few... Pomeli.
Wasn't she the evil mother of the Goonies? That was Mama Fratelli. Mama Pomeli.
Close. Mama Pomeli, yeah. So what's incredible about this, though, this is for creating different types of banners or ads or any kind of creative composition.
That would be great, because you try and ask for a banner image in like ChatGPT or something like that. Well, can't
Yeah, but there's a couple of really great things it does. So the one thing, there's a little video, let's watch a little bit of it, and then there was a couple of features I think are particularly cool. For those that are watching, I'll play a little video. So the thing that's so impressive, the first thing you can do, because it's aimed at businesses, you give it your website, your URL. You tell it, this is my business website. And the first thing it does, it scours your website and it creates a brand book or a brand guideline, a document. It understands your brand colors, it will understand your fonts. So we get an understanding of your tone of voice. And so the very first thing it does, it says, this is your brand, and this kind of represents your brand guidelines effectively. And then when you go on to then ask it, I want a banner for this, or I want to sell. Some of the examples show that for Black Friday, here's 3 product shots that I've got. I want to create some special offers for Black Friday. It then automatically creates you ads using those assets in different styles that you can edit. But the beautiful thing is you can then easily edit any of the attributes. You want to change any of the words, you can click on it and change the words yourself if you want to, or you can ask it to kind of go again and do your different variations. So that beautiful hybrid. So it's not just a still image it generates, it puts together a whole composition, and then you can just either edit it yourself or ask it to kind of add bits or give you different options.
That'd be a game changer for internal marketing teams,
Yeah.
particularly for like small businesses, wouldn't it? Really?
Yeah, for the small business, just the fact that it can understand your business DNA, like literally in a minute, and then it can automatically apply that.
Is it free to use?
Currently, it's not available in the UK, so there's some limitations just with some of the rollout. But I think my understanding is with all the Google Labs products that they create, they are free to use because they're really for research purposes.
And I guess you're training the model, aren't you, by getting it to evaluate it?
Yeah.
Feels very much like, similar with Meta, like all of these big tech firms are opening the kitchen cupboards. So these are typically products, I think, that they would lock inside their ad platforms that can only be used inside their ad products, that they're suddenly now realizing can generate a great reputation or can be used for a business that wants to in-house certain things. It's a totally new strategy, isn't it? From hiding everything to suddenly giving everybody access to everything.
Yeah. And it's interesting because in return, what's more valuable to them? They want to understand kind of the users and the usage data of that, and then that is probably what helps them drive their products forward, really. But in return, we get access to amazing tools for typically for no expense or very, very small amounts, really. That's the last of kind of my 5 of the month. So there's been so many amazing things, really. So
You couldn't possibly cover them all.
couldn't cover it all, but 5 of the interesting ones that hopefully there's things in there that people hadn't seen or hadn't heard of or played with.
Well, thank you, Louis, for that impossible task of condensing all that information done so well.
Bit of light in the noise.